Anyway, I got into making more and more clothing for climbing, and business was taking off. And but it really took off when I saw my friend Doug Tompkins, who started a spree, and he was wearing a Fila wool sweater, but it was brushed and it was real fuzzy. And I thought, wow, that thing would make a great thing for, climbing and stuff if it was made out of synthetic that would dry a lot more quickly. So my wife went down to the Calmart in LA, where it's the garment area, and she looked around and found some fake fur, and the kind of, and she bought some. It was the stuff that you use for in Kansas for covering your toilet seats. Real chic stuff. So we made up a jacket, and sure enough, you could fall into the river in the winter and take the thing off and shake it, and all the water would come out, and you put it back on. It would save your life. Well, that pile jacket evolved into Cinchilla, which was a much more sophisticated version, and then all of a sudden the sales just took off like crazy, because up till then I was selling stuff strictly to climbers and hardcore dirtbags, and now you got all these New Yorkers buying this thing to wear in their gold edition Jeep Cherokee to drive to their Connecticut home. So kind of in the mid-'80s, we're growing the business 40-50% a year. It was just taking off, and so we were growing the business by all the traditional ways. We were opening new dealers, wholesale accounts, and we were buying mailing lists for people who didn't request a catalog, but we'd send them one anyway. We opened up our own retail stores, and it was just going, lickety-split. And in 1989, we had ramped up to do another 50% increase in business, and we had bought all the inventory and hired tons of people. And then 1990, a recession hit, and instead of growing 50%, we only grew 20%. But we were so strung out by growing that quickly every year that we had no cash reserves, and at the same time our bank was going belly up itself and wouldn't give us any more money. My accountant introduced me to the mafia, who wanted 28% interest. That's how desperate we were. Almost lost the business, but and I had to lay off 20% of our workforce, and which is the worst thing I've ever had to go through in my life, because a lot of these people were friends, and it was absolutely my fault, and I swore I'd never ever want to be in that situation again, but we had to do it to save the company. And I realized that my company had become part of the problem. I was completely unsustainable, and I was doing everything the way you're supposed to in America, grow like crazy. And so I took 10 of the top people in the company, and we all, even though we could hardly afford it, we all went down to the real Patagonia down in Argentina, and we walked around in the wilderness we had a walkabout for about a week or 10 days, and would walk for half an hour, and then we'd all sit down in a circle in a really nice place, and then we'd say, okay, why are we in business anyway? I mean, none of us ever wanted to be in business. Not one had a business degree, and we were all there for completely different reasons than your normal business. And so we had to communicate what that was. And so we started writing down what our values were. And one of the important things is that we wanted to make a really the best quality product. I mean, we were coming from a background of making life-saving equipment, making the best climbing equipment in the world, and we wanted to do the same thing with clothing. It was really important that we were a product-driven company, and that our product was not stock, our product was not the company that was going to be sold someday, but our product was these tools and this clothing. And it was, we're going to put that in the front of the wedge, and the whole rest of the company was going to follow the product. So that was really important for us. We didn't want to compromise on that. And then secondly, my chief designer at the time said, we can't make the best. We can make the best quality climbing hardware, but we can't make the best clothes. I said, well, why not? Because, the best shirt is a, Giorgio Armani hand-woven Italian fabric, and the buttons are hand-sewn, and it's an impeccable thing. It's a work of art, and they cost $300 minimum. If we started making stuff like that, we'd be out of business. Well, I said, what happens if you throw that in a washing machine? Oh, well, you can't do that. It's got to be dry cleaned. It'll shrink, it'll fall apart. I said, that's not very good quality. So, part of this book is defining what we mean by quality in clothing. We had to figure out what is quality, and what is quality for our customers and for ourselves, because we were our own customers. Then the next thing we wanted was flex time. We wanted to be able to take